Good morning, I'm Dustin Tahisin Gomez Rodriguez from Bogota, Colombia, since Universidad San Buenaventura. The title of this briefly investigation is Employment Status of Some Traders and Occupation in the Retail from the Perspective of Capital Human 2010-2014. The table of contents begin with the introduction, continue with the methodology, results, and finish with conclusions. The Colombian economy in the 20th century has been in rapid change, where it went from being incongruent with the eroding policies of import substitution to a aperturist economy since the 1990s. In addition, the consumers and end receivers have a wider choice of services and goods from other latitudes. Consequently, domestic enterprise, both retail, trade, and leisure surface, have tended to look for strategies with which to compete, while recognizing that the sector European market has had tremendous growth since the late 20th century and early 21st century. As well, it can be said that the country's consumption gradually grows at domestic retail and international trade is expanding in expectation, as its portfolio as well as they have increased investment from a large chain such as Falabella, Almacenes Éxito, and Carrefour, when the latter was in the countries. Even though the income on operator and a large number of professionals working in the Colombian productive apparatus showed wide gaps in return to education between formal and informal, as well as between men and women, and between the same economic activities such as craft and occupations. Therefore, discrepancies are due to the characteristics of the Colombian labor market, where many of them not only happening in the country but in many Latin American countries is the case of wage gender segregations. Despite that human capital is a third root in the neoclassical school of economics with contribution from Becker, Minzer, and Schultz, who identified its accumulation of the skill and experience possessed by individuals in the labor market, were distinguished to force training, a general name acquiring the education system specific, acquired within the production unit while recognizing the importance of the work habits and health of people. In particular, the use of the human capital is evident and intangible capital, which is a signal value and map course of growth, the economic development on a country, and the competitiveness of the sector and the economy. Therefore, this research provides a brief analysis of return to education of some trades and operators working in the retail trades, a large surface that can be identified in the ISIC, International Standard Industrial Classification, all economic activities, and ISCO, International Standard Classification of Occupation, with data GEIH, Grid Integrated Household Survey, in the period 2009-2013 from the theory of the human capital. Methodology. Data. Microdata are the GEIH, Grid Integrated Household Survey, of the National Administrative Department of Statistics, DANE, between 2009 to 2003. Econometric models. Minzer equation estimate reciprocity showing human capital's total on the logarithm of the labor income, where Y, income on the individual, S, numbers of years of formal education, EXP, numbers of years of work experience, E, random term that they cannot explain the model. Econometric model for micro performers as follows, where LNYI is the meaning of income earned logarithmically, EXPI experience of the worker, EXPI elevate to work experience square, primary level, secondary level, university level, occupational profession. Key is the meaning of numbers of occupations. In order In order to the econometric model is applied the methodology proposed by Heckman 1979, the which allows correction of selection bias if individually are not analyzed and random sample of the taken populations, where WBI is the meaning of column vector of the log hourly wage of individual I sex. XI array containing the observed characteristics of individuals. B is the meaning of the coefficient vector estimate. Lambda is equal to term correction. Variance is a covariance between observable factors affecting labor participation of those who influence the salary. UI is equal to random error term. U equal 0. Results. Occupation of traders were taken from ISIC, International Standard and Industrial Classification of all economic activities, and ISCO, International Standard Classification of Occupation. With the same purpose to the output were conduct and average these four most robust data for analysis. In addition to estimate the relate to the variable of human capital theory, reiterate what they established the literature. The greater the number of years experience and escalation count earn and increase. Then, the return to potential experience and significant and 1%, consistent with what has been said. Instead, the labor income growth gradually declared the long term in the working lives of the vast majority of occupation. In addition, the coefficient showed there were discrimination in various occupations. In the same condition as the Colombian labor market, men have high return to the woman. Consequently, results show the performing the method of Heckman in both female and male sample to selection via furthermore the Lambda coefficients, as there is a statistically significant negative correlation 1%, which can be interpreted as the unsurveyed by the data, as the skill and motivation has representative load other results. Estimate on average for subsample evidence male says supervisor observer show assistant and relative working obtain the higher return to education with 0.554 and 0.53 points respectively logarithmic. Even if you can explain these high returns by being more responsible position and among the lowest transportation, service and communication with average of minus 0.121, demonstrating that did office every time the returns and decrease under and years was positive performance, were consistent with the dynamics of the Colombia industry. The results average returns are the business service with 0.453 log points and manages to wholesale and retail, which also has to do with the dynamic of the Colombian productive apparatus is labor market. SAF for women shows the data indicate they obtain the highest return with an average of accounting clerks, cashiers and relay workers 0.25 that the business service 0.123 log points, and the current economy situation labor imaginary gender against this office and work from the perspective of theory of signaling. Return in media education, sellers, shop assistant and relay workers with 0.10 point respective logarithmic emphasis. Finally, the other ratios of the underperformance and the occupation managers, wholesale and retail, and sales supervisor minus 0.02 minus 0.03 were evidence and no encouraged occupation among women or negative trends in return to educations. Conclusions. The rapid change in Colombian economy have positioned retail trades as trade in supermarkets as are received or skilled and unskilled labor. What's more, although wages for the various occupations and professions have gradually improved and other trades have stayed, according to results of the modeled outputs. It is clear that there is wage segregation in the vast majority of the trades studied in the period, and it is imperative to develop strategies in which these individuals improve this quality of life and reduce the wage gap between genders and between occupations to contribute to the greater equity and social justice. An investigation that can be figured This investigation helped to analyze and expand the analysis. It would be a diversification of the job in the economy activity. However, what it was intended to make research was to identify and stop along the way to interpret the returns to education occupation more concatenated with retail trades and dealers, supersede and the project as being a amalgam future research regarding the topic.